Hello, folks. Hello, and welcome to Monday, August 25th, 2025, Techthusiasm Live podcast. So, just me today. The last 2 weeks have been action packed. I think hopefully really fun and informative and engaging discussions. First with Sammy Prescott Jr., talking all about the calibration process, logistics, and details and stuff. And then last week, of course, the conversation with Chris Deering, where we were talking about screen options, projection screen options, sizes, aspect ratios, and all of that stuff. So I'll update a little bit on some of my thoughts there. I've had some ongoing conversation with some folks about that in the last week. So since the last 2 weeks were kind of like very topic dedicated, it wasn't just kind of the general hangout or kind of an update about what's going on. So I've got some cool updates around the channel, around the spaces and activities. Some of the things that weren't projects and elements that weren't moving forward in prior weeks, in the last couple of weeks, actually have moved forward now. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, we'll just hang out, talk about that, answer some questions, say hey to folks, and have a good time here for a little bit, and then check out, get some dinner, and then off to the Monday night kids activity wrangling, chauffeuring, I guess is the right word. So hope everybody's in good health and good spirits. Nice little, we're nice feeling here in Southeast Michigan. Feels like summer is ending. School is starting. We homeschool, so technically school goes year round in our household, but still, there's still a refresh that September, Labor Day, fall refresh is still coming. So I love it. I think fall is my favorite season of them all for a couple of different reasons, but the fact that it's 69 degrees outside, 68 degrees outside right now, means I can actually feel comfortable again after the crazy heat and humidity and all that of the summer. So curious what your favorite season is. But fall is mine. Spring is full of allergies and I just feel like crap. Summer's too hot and humidity feels gross. Winter's cold, but fall is just right. So do some apple picking hopefully coming up here, get into some fall activities and all that. Got the Labor Day weekend coming up. I'm not sure, actually, we'll have to see what's going on Monday. I forgot about that. So next Monday will be the first Monday that's like a holiday. We may be engaged and busy at 5 p.m. next Monday, so might have to switch it to Tuesday. The streak will have to break, or maybe we'll hold Monday. I'm not sure. If everybody's out barbecuing and hanging out with their friends and families and stuff, hopefully there might not be much of a hangout. So we'll see what happens next Monday, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Hope everybody had a great weekend. We got outside a lot. So not a ton of audio video content and usage consumption and stuff, but still some. But we got outside a little bit this past weekend. Too many activities and too many things to do in any given day. But I've never been to like a taco festival. We did that Saturday here locally, taco trucks and all that. But I love some tacos for sure. And we did our first and what will probably maybe our only, we'll see if we get another one in, first bike ride this summer. Finally, yesterday, 8.5 mile loop around one of the lakes in the metro parks here. It's one of my favorite biking spots. So that was pretty cool. Been playing a bunch of card games with my son, Marvel Champions. He had some new content update and we buy all of it. So new Asgard Loki scenario. I've been playing that and just working on stuff, engaging with folks. Shipped an NZ 500 projector to somebody in the last week. I got Kaleidescapes going out. So a lot of business activity and some other engagements and stuff as well. So one thing worth mentioning right off the bat in terms of the channel news is I'm working towards being able to partner up, collaborate, and be able to offer some more stuff. So I'm have access to some extent, and I'm working towards solidifying kind of like completely where I want to be with additional brands like Stewart. So if folks are thinking about Stewart screens, think about me. And I'm looking for ways and options to be able to get things like Trinoff, MadVR, NAD, and some of these other brands as well. So I'm looking forward to maybe what might be a little bit of a longer road of working with Trinoff in some ways. I want to do it's a product that I want to get skilled up on. I want to do all the training. I want to get all the certifications, similar to kind of like what I did with MadVR. But yeah, if I can help anybody out there with your stuff, a lot of interest in projectors lately. Projectors have been kind of quiet for a bit, but I feel like I'm talking with multiple folks about projectors. And again, somebody just did a JVC NZ500 upgrade and is totally loving it. So I love making people happy with their new toys. It's always fun. Probably be running over a local sale, local customer, channel person, etc. To go actually set up his Kaleidescape, and we'll see maybe a projector upgrade and some other stuff coming there as well. So a lot of business activity, discussions, collaborations, and all of that kind of getting set up in the background. Unfortunately, I still won't be going. I am going to skip Cedia this year. I've already done two channel related travels this year, but I think starting in 2026, Cedia will have to be on my attend list, my must do, my business plan. But rest assured, I'm still going to be clued into a lot of the stuff happening at Cedia, even if I may not be there. In fact, I may or may not have already gotten some communications about products and things that are going to be announced and coming. So stay tuned. I'm not aware of much by the way of like promos and deals and things that are coming, but I've got my ears ready, paying attention to the email, the notes, and I'll cover anything cool, anything that I find really interesting and cool, the brands that I like and that people are interested in. Have content for it, and then maybe do some kind of a CD wrap up discussion coming up as well, with some guests and some folks that were there. I know I talked a little bit about that maybe with Chris last week, and maybe Sammy too, perhaps, or we'll do a multiple thing for some of the guys that were there if they want to come on and talk about what they saw, talk about what's new and what they liked and all of that stuff. So yeah, that's that. Let's take a minute for some shout outs. Julius, always the first comment. Love it. Hello. Michael, are we talking Ubiquity? Yes, there was actually progress in the Ubiquity domain in the last couple of weeks also. So we'll chat about that a bit here today. Let's see, Michael, is that one of the mystery projects making a comeback? Well, not really a mystery, but there is significant progress achieved in the living room rebuild just recently, but still super happy about that. So we'll chat about that too. Bruno, Muchacho, welcome. A bunch of the regular friends here. Julius, mine is winter. Now that I'm retired, nowhere to go. Just sit inside and watch the snowfall. Snow. I do like snow. I like winter. I like skiing. Just when the temperatures hit down to like, we can get down below like close to zero some days, 20 degrees. I like skiing, but not at 20 degrees. Michael saying, watched F1, really enjoyed it, despite being a real F1 fan. Are you not saying that's not a documentary, right? You know, that was a movie. Yeah, I haven't watched F1 yet. I was kind of surprised it came home and it actually came to Kaleidescape and everything, in addition to Apple TV Plus. So, oh, you know what I didn't do though with F1? I need to make that video. I should check and see what the streaming bit rates are, because if there's any movie that they've put some money into, right? Apple's put some money into, they want it looking good. It should be that one. So, I would expect to see like 40 megabit per second video bit rates and whatnot. Audio is probably the same as always, 770 kilobit per second Dolby Atmos, but maybe they pumped up on the video a little bit. Chintaput, welcome, my friend. Hello. Michael, if you need a CD, a cameraman, let me know. Yeah, cameraman. What do we got here? Paul Monger, welcome. Hello from the UK. Hello. Cool. So this time of day, it's getting late over there, but you'd be sleeping if we had been doing the evening streams. So interesting question. I don't want to dwell too much on this one. Do you recommend a Tesla now that you've had yours for a while? I do quite like the Tesla, actually. Political wrangling and Elon Musk aside, whether you liked him before and now you don't like him, or you didn't like him before and now you like him and didn't like him again, regardless of any of that stuff, I really like the car. I really like having one EV in the household, one car that's always gassed, full energy, ready to go, pull out of the driveway. Don't have to stop and worry about it any given day for like local driving and stuff like that. I think the car's held up good. It's been, 4 years. Yeah, 4 years, because the basic warranty just expired. Really no mechanical problems. We got a couple things that still need to be, a couple of minor repairs, like warranty repairs that need to be done. We are paying for the extended warranty now. I did enable it, actually. I don't think I've been billed. I need to double check that. But yeah, the only thing that I did wrong with the Tesla is we shouldn't have done the Model 3 Performance. We didn't need the performance car. And I don't like a car as much as I thought I would as well. In fact, actually, the car we had before, the Tesla, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, remains probably one of my favorite vehicles of the last however many that we've had that I really enjoyed. That car was fun. It handled great. I like the styling. I think that car was awesome. But I wish we would have got a Y long range. We didn't need the 3 Performance. But I would definitely consider one in the future as well. Maybe not buying a car anytime soon. We're on a newly engaged, hopefully 18-month plan to pay off our house. So there will be no cars for a while. Maybe much to my daughter's chagrin because she's going to be turning 16 in the interim. But yeah. Paul, Superman finally released. Yep. Released 45 days after theatrical. I wasted my money on a subpar movie commercial theater experience. I would have rather just watched that at home. So lesson learned. Both Thunderbolts and Superman. I didn't need to go to the theater and pay $80 for the family to see them. Could have just bought them for 30 or 40 on Kaleidescape. So Paul saying I bought a new Model 3 long range. Nice, picking up Monday. Yep. Model 3 long range. Yeah, rear wheel drive. Nice. Yeah, I like the new styling. The new 3 and the new Y. I think they both look really, really sharp. Really sharp. I like them. If I were to go for another Tesla, I would really want an X. I think that would be the one that I would. It's more expensive, so that would require some finagling. But that would be the one that I would be drawn to want to purchase. Hey, Sren, welcome. Hey, did you get your AVM 90 yet? Let me know if you're rocking that thing out. Mars 73. Taking some questions, and then we'll start talking about some of the things going on in the system lately here. How you liking the tonal 1 or tonal 2? So the tonal remains 100% the best piece of technology, electronics, whatever that I bought in the last year. 100%. Yeah, it's so freaking good. The whole family uses it now. So that alone is a huge benefit. I just finished another program today, so geez, Heatwave level 2, the intermediate version, I think is what it was called. 4-week fast track Heatwave level 2. Finished workout 16 today. So yeah, I'm flying. 963 strength score. Boom. I hope my goal is to get that to 1,000 this calendar year. I think I should be able to do it. So coming up on 250 workout achievement. I'm at 242. So I've had it a little over a year. So I use it about every 2 out of every 3 days, roughly. Coming up on 2.5 million pounds lifted. Yeah, 1 year, 37 weeks. Wait, no. That's not right. Oh, 1 year streak. That seems wrong. 25-week streak. That must be consecutive. I'm on a 37-week streak right now. That's what it is. Okay. And then let's see, what is this? Yeah, coming up on 250 workouts. So I freaking love it. I feel so much cohesively stronger, better, more capable, etc. I'm training smarter, training better than I ever did on my own at the gym. We have the tonal 1. I really would like to get the tonal 2. Actually, I want 2 tonals now. I want to get a second one for the house because my son and I, we do particularly with my son and I. Sometimes my wife will do it with them as well. Sometimes I will also do them with my daughter. But you can do a workout in a partner mode. And so in partner mode, let's just say, I'll try and keep this as short as possible. But let's say that there's like in the block in the routine is like a bench press, some curls, and some push-ups, right? So you go to start the workout, you say partner. It'll be my son's workout in his program, but then I'll add me as the partner. Then he'll do the chest press, and then I'll do the chest press, and we're both in our profiles. The machine knows our weights, so it challenges us the right way, properly, independently. Then he does the curls, then I do the curls, but then the push-ups are off tonal, so we do the push-ups at the same time. That's all great and stuff, but now because we do the partner stuff so much, I want 2 machines because I want to do them side by side. And then instead of doing a partner workout, you can do a group workout, which means nobody's waiting. We can do the same routine in real time the same way. And I'm doing the chest press at the same time he's doing the chest press. So if we did that, I'd buy a tonal 2, and then I would use the tonal 2 when I train individually. or when anybody trains individually, we can move them to the other side of the basement. They'd kind of be side by side, and that would be awesome. So, but yeah, I can't recommend that thing enough. If they didn't already have like LeBron James is their social media guy, I'd probably reach out to them and try to do something for it on the channel. But they don't. I don't think they need me when they've got like professional athletes as their spokespeople. But all right, Brian Cobb, ever looked into higher end infrasonic subs? Sendo has, yeah, I have not. Yeah, they have those crazy big subs and whatever. Technically, I could put that in here. I mean, that like 32-inch sub, 50-inch sub, it'd be like behind the main seat, kind of where these panels are behind me. But no, I haven't really considered something along those levels. But it could be fun someday. You never know. Terminator, welcome, my friend. What's up? Be listening while I drive. Cool. Fun. Oh, he got his 90. He just bought his AVM 90, and the M28 came in, second M28. Wherever did you get the inspiration for an AVM 90 and a dual M28 amplifier setup? I hope you love it. I love mine. It's awesome. Yeah, now I need some XLR cables. World's best cable, Amazon, is pretty solid stuff. That's still what I've been using. Hamza, have you heard of Samsung's micro RGB at 115? No, but I think I just saw, was it Brian's Tech Therapy? Some of the TV guys I think were starting to talk about that TV. So Sony also has a next gen mini RGB that should be coming out in 2026. I have not really looked at the TV landscape in a while, just because I knew that I personally was not in the running for any type of a TV upgrade anytime soon. But that will change before long here coming up. So I may be paying attention much more closely as we get towards the end of this year and what Cedia has in store. So Terminator saying, ooh, interesting. There's been a few videos and podcasts where people are talking about screen aspect ratios. Yeah, so we did that last week. Feeling like maybe Tide is turning a little bit away from scope screens. Yeah, maybe. I think that, like, again, so I think the ultimate thesis, the ultimate sentiment of last week is that there's no right or wrong choice. There's only what fits your space and logistics and constraints the best, right? So my rule of thumb remains that, like, I just want, generally speaking, let's say I want the biggest screen space, content space that I can get, right, for the most aspect ratios. For the most part, like, you could go, saying that can go bad as well, because there is a point where something could be too large. But I think most spaces, like, just being reasonable, common sense, most spaces probably have a physical constraint that will will generally prevent things from being too big, quote unquote. So then it really becomes like, okay, well, if you go as wide as you can reasonably, and then depending on how wide that is, if you're going to have, if it's scope and you're going to have a dinky 16:9 and you have the height, then make it a 16:9 ratio and go taller. Maximize the width and then take the extra height. And conversely, the same thing. If you're height constrained, go as tall as you can. But then if you have extra width and you value scope content, add on the extra width. Because if you are limited by your height and you stop at 16:9, you're going to have a smaller scope image. So if you have the extra width, your 16:9 wouldn't have changed, right? It was already constrained to a certain size, but you can make the scope presentation better. So that's exactly the situation that I was in kind of both times, is that I picked my first screen with limited because the light path had to pass between the tower speakers that weren't going to go any further wider in the space. And I went 16:9 because a scope screen would have been silly at that height. And then when I got the speakers out and I went architectural, to me, I just think, okay, well, I'm comfortable with this height. I'm just going to add width. And then now, just because I have and knowing as well that I was light constrained and some setup constraints and stuff like that before, I was happy with that. But now my consideration is, well, maybe I will go taller because I have the height and I can make my 185 and my 16:9 images and all of that be bigger. So, yeah, I don't think I would never make this choice to just like maximize one aspect ratio at the expense of another because of that aspect ratio. I think it's more, to me, it's a physical challenge, physical constraint debate type of challenge kind of thing. All right, so what's going on? All kinds of stuff. I bought myself another Kaleidescape. Finally decided, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and grab it because a couple of Saturdays ago, I had a local person, channel viewer, customer come over. He was contemplating a Kaleidescape, and he wanted to see it. He wanted to, especially to like A/B compare Kaleidescape versus some streaming content and whatnot. So really nice guy. He came over, we hung out a little bit. We were down here first, gave him all the theater demo and stuff like that. He has a theater and a living room setup as well. Which again, he may overhaul some aspects of the theater coming up. We'll see about that. But for initially, he was looking to put the Kaleidescape into into the living room setup first. So then we went upstairs, and it's like, oh man, like I only have one player, and it's set up for the theater. I'm like, but come on over, we'll do the theater demo, and then I can quickly enough make the change. I'll rewire it to the HDMI to the living room, and change a couple of the configuration settings and options to make sure that it's kind of maximized for that environment instead of this environment, and I can give you the demo in both rooms. So after he left, I'm like, yeah, it's time. I was planning to buy another Strato anyway because particularly once the living room rebuild is complete, I want that room to have its own dedicated player 100%, because I want to use it in there myself, and then also for this other factor, I want to be able to demonstrate with Kaleidescape in both zones. Anecdotally, as soon as we watched Top Gun Maverick upstairs, and I played Top Gun Maverick on the Kaleidescape, and I played Top Gun Maverick on Apple TV streaming on the iTunes TV app, and he within a couple of seconds, he's like, yeah, this is better. So he left having paid for his Strato. So anybody out there, again, considering the Kaleidescape versus streaming, so one discrete data point of a gentleman being very convinced by seeing the two side by side, AB one after the other, that was it. He was ready to get his Strato. So I was like, yeah, screw it. I need to have this. I want to have this, and we're working towards that rebuild anyway. So I bought myself an E. Or we bought a Strato E. So it delivered. UPS was running really weak last week. Very disappointing last week. So stuff I bought at the beginning of the week would usually be here by Thursday. Didn't come Thursday, didn't come Friday. No deliveries over the weekend. Finally, stuff arrived today. So I have his player and I have my player. So I'm going to be making a run over to that person's house sometime, one of these evenings coming up or the weekend. Whatever ends up working, I'll go set a system up for him. And then, yeah, maybe not tonight, but one night this week, I'll get my Strato E set up. I'm going to put it down here. I'm not actually going to put it upstairs. I'd have to put the wall mount on just to take the wall mount off to do the rebuild and whatever. And I already have the long HDMI cable going from behind the rack downstairs to the TV upstairs. And I'm going to use IP control with the Halo remote to control it anyway. So I don't need line of sight or IR. So I'm just going to set it on a shelf in the rack, plug it into Ethernet right there, plug it in to HDMI, long cable up to the living room, and then of course power is right there as well. And yeah, and then I'll have full Kaleidescape capability in the living room for demo. I'm not going to set it up in standalone mode since I have the server. Now I'll have two player zones, one server, able to access all that stuff. So pretty good. So that's in the box. Get it added to my Control 4 setup, and that'll be good to go. So that's there. The network stuff. So I did have Dan DeCarlo, Audio Vision here in Southeast Michigan. He's been on the channel a few times. He came over. I got the X4 upgrade. So we did the whole full upgrade. I didn't realize that when you do, yeah. So hold on, make sure there's no private information. Yep. So there you go. Running the new Control 4 app on my devices. This is um, the prior app was called like Control 4 for OS 3. Yeah, Control 4 for OS 3. Now it's just Control 4, I think it's called, but it's the one that connects to the X4 system and has the X4 interface. You can do all this new stuff, what they call routines. So there's more like programming, power, um, and more kind of like capabilities and stuff built in here. I haven't even looked at some of this. Like they sent the tutorials on how to do it. I've got it set up, but I haven't done anything. Customize your view, personalize things. Apparently, Home Composer is still supposed to work. I have not actually set up or haven't tried to interface via Home Composer yet at all, and actually haven't done any of the personalization stuff yet. But we were upgraded and got the new app stuff working. Oversee is connected as well for the Wattbox stuff, but I haven't actually connected via Oversee yet either. Just there's more things to do than there is time in the day to do everything anymore. Unfortunately, in that visit, we were trying to get the new door locks on the Control 4 network, and that failed. We did Yale, but apparently not all Yale locks are created equal, and it's very unclear which ones actually take the modules properly and work with the wireless modules for Control 4 and third-party smart system integration and which ones don't. So they take the modules, they physically install, but then it like something is it's shorting something out or something's not working electrically. So unfortunately, it's taken us so long to get to this point that I'm past my return of these locks on Amazon. It's not like they were like $1,000 a piece or something, but still they're like $100 a piece or so. So I haven't even done it yet. Again, something else on my to-do list, but I need to try to call Amazon and be like, look, we bought these locks. We bought this, what should have been the smart version of these locks. It doesn't work. Can I try to get an exchange or something, a return, and try to get some locks that do actually interface with C4? Because one of the things that I like about the door locks in C4 is having them auto lock. So we never have to be worried about did somebody forget to lock the door at night or when we leave or go to bed or whatever it may be. I like the mental reassurance of that. So I had programmed in like that the doors lock at like 8, 10, and midnight every night. So one of those hits will make sure the deadbolts are always closed. Now, so we did that. We are going to put I'm going to put 2 more cameras up. We didn't get those up in that visit, but there's one more drop outside looking over a certain portion of the backyard that I'm going to use one of the dome. I bought 4 of these dome cameras thinking that we had drops inside in certain places that we don't have drops. So we're just going to put one dome outside and then one dome inside. I pushed some wires back into the walls in a couple places where we're not going to put them. So that still needs to be put in. And then we wired, I put the doorbell in. So I dig the doorbell. I really like the doorbell. You can, I like being able to, and we put the chime in as well. So we have the chime. I did it in the wall, you cut like a 3-inch circle out. And then they have the surround. You stick that in the hole, screw it down, and then the Ethernet cable sticks right through the back. Plug it in. PoE. Everything's PoE. Love it. And it just works great. You can customize the chime very nicely. There's a bunch of stuff you can choose from. You can upload your own chimes. You can choose how they replay, volume control, stuff like that, of course. So that's great. Now we can actually hear the doorbell. The Control 4 doorbell was so unreliable that it just never worked. We literally had like a sticky note taped on our doorbell, which is like knock loud. Forget the doorbell, just knock loud, please. Now the doorbell works. We'll see if we end up putting more chimes in a couple other places of the house, around the house, to make sure that we see it. Yeah, but there you go. Doorbell camera right down the entryway of our porch. But I love it. You can put a custom picture up on the doorbell itself. Somebody comes up, hits the button. It's got camera facing out. It has a package camera facing down, with a bunch of different types of detections and stuff like that. You can, I love getting the notifications on my phone. So somebody hits the doorbell. It's like boom, boom, somebody's at your door. Ubiquiti Protect doorbell chime is going off, and then you click the notification. It takes you to like a special view in the Protect app, and you can engage intercom remotely right there, talk to the person, hear back from them, and then it does all the same, like all the other same like Unify Protect capabilities to be able to like draw the detection zones and um, the identification, the recordings and stuff like that. So detect people, vehicles. Um, we put in a new mailbox as well right on our porch, and so um, between the camera views of the porch, we can see the mailbox, we can see the door, we can see the whole porch, we can see the stairway leading up to the porch, people coming into it, all that stuff. So yeah, I love it. I really like that. Next, I was considering the Ubiquiti NAS as well, and I was trying to get an answer though, because I really need my NAS to be able to sync OneDrive. It's one of the most important features I need off of a NAS, and Synology can do it. But I had a chat with Ubiquiti support to try to answer the question if the Ubiquiti NAS can do it, and it doesn't seem that they actually support that use case yet. So we'll see what happens there. I'm trying to think what else we did. I feel like we did another thing or two when Dan was here, but I think that covers the most important parts of it. Or yeah, I think that's everything that we did. And then the biggest thing, the biggest element of all of the news is I finally had a contractor over. To talk about the living room wall build. So had the guy come by, went over the details of the project. He came in. We actually had a really nice rapport. He's like a pop culture nerd and all that. So he saw my comic books in the office, and he was all impressed with that. So chatted it up for a little bit, and then we again went over the project, wanting to move stuff around, why we're doing certain things. Told him about the YouTube channel. Made sure like, are you guys cool if we like video this and vlog it and share it? And so he was all about that, which was nice. We talked about some options for certain like finishes and things that we kind of want to accomplish, or maybe some changes that we may want to make with the wall as well. So I didn't get a price yet. The price should be forthcoming, hopefully within the next 2 days. I like the guy, and he came recommended by a couple of folks. Seems like he's got a nice business set up, so I'm hoping the price is in line with all the other elements, and we can just say yes and get moving. Off the cuff, he was talking about like 2 weeks, so a week to do the physical, rip it down, reframe it, and get the structure reset, and then a week to refinish, paint, and reintegrate everything back in. So I'm happy with that. If that actually happens over the course of 2 business weeks, then I'll have a weekend in between where the wall will be open, and I can rerun my wires, and I can get the structure of everything that I need set up properly in there, the way that I want it to be. And then they can come back whatever on the Monday and close it up. And then, yeah, and we'll be there. Right away, I'll be able to put the new speakers in, get the Utopia speaker sub combinations running, get the new, get the other M23 installed, get all the audio side of things fixed up. And then the TV, I'm not too worried about, like if and when the TV happens. It'll happen at some point, but we'll have to see the right time. I need to make some contacts at LG or something as well, possibly. Anyway, we did talk as well though too about like maybe bringing the wall out a little bit more, which would deepen the cavity. Because one of my challenges is it's not super deep right now. And so an LG G series television, which is like 1 inch thick all the way across, fits nicely in there without hanging forward of the cubby. But if we added a couple inches of depth, I don't necessarily have to stick with LG. I'm happy to do like a 97-inch OLED in there. The problem is they're so freaking expensive. I need to cut like some crazy marketing deal or something with LG. Find a way to try to get something going there. But it would be nice to be able to consider other options, because I can't do a 3-inch television and have the thing falling out of the cubby. It'll never pass my own fit and finish expectation, let alone like the wife acceptance factor of it. So, but if we deepen the cubby, now we can get potentially a deeper TV, and it opens up more options to be able to not have to spend so much as well. So we'll see. Again, we'll get some pricing, and then we'll finalize elements of the design, and then yeah, hopefully these guys can get to work and get it done. Let's say draw a line in the sand. Hopefully, maybe by end of September, I would love to be listening to Utopia speakers in the living room. And I got some other questions I need to answer for myself as well. Like, do I leave the electronics in the basement, or do I want to move the electronics upstairs at all? Like move the preamp and the amplifiers that are serving the living room up into the living room. I do have a spot where they can go right next to the bump out, and they would fit kind of nicely. The PC would integrate then, instead of just standing there by itself off to the side. It could be part of that setup. So I need to figure out some of those design questions and stuff there. But it's fun, at least, to have somebody coming, meeting their word, and coming to the appointment that was set to quote a project and consider it. So I'm pretty excited about that progress. A couple questions popping up here. Chat, welcome. Yo, Jeremy, longtime viewer, first time in a live. Well, welcome. Thanks for all the Blu-ray ripping. Sure. We got to get you a Kaleidescape, chat. Watch the full aspect ratio podcast with Chris Deering. Chris did all my calibration, sold me a Lumigen. Awesome. Happy for that. What aspect ratio did you decide to go with? So I haven't decided yet. I have been doing a lot of follow-up consideration and debate about it. So this is one thing that I'm not under a lot of, let's say I'm not under a lot of pressure to make the change. Like I'm really happy with what I have. I'm like kind of doing this because I can, more than because of like any pressing need or push or desire or whatever. I think we will end up changing the screen. It may be a little slow of a process as well. If we get the price on the living room and we really get the living room project going, I'll probably even just wait a little bit on doing anything in here at the same time, just to kind of serialize the two. And I also need to verify what the price of the living room project is going to be before I buy something else. Although I did buy the Kaleidescape, but before changing something that's already working. The Kaleidescape was an add to put the additional player in. This is already working fine in here. And I expect that I will be changing to a Stewart screen. So another part of what I'm working on is getting my engagement and relationship set up with Stewart, because I would like to be able to offer their products anyway. I was already looking to do that and considering it, the options to do that before even considering the change. But knowing that I need to do this and to do it right, I need an acoustically transparent screen that is effectively like some positive gain. And so the Stewart like G4 material is a 1.3 gain, perforated. It'll be about a 1.15-ish, 1.2 gain. That's what I need it to be in order to maintain the light that I would want to maintain, and actually even gain a little bit of light. Talking with some folks and running some numbers, might gain about 10%, or a little less than 10%, like 8% more light, depending on what specific screen. But to answer this question, what aspect ratio did you, so not did I decide, but what am I thinking? I'm thinking more and more about going 17:9. I'm thinking more about matching the aspect ratio, the wide aspect ratio of the JVC panel natively. So that would be one. It's like 189 to 1, right? 17. Yeah. 189 to 1. So I think that there's a lot of merit to that. And I know we talked about, actually, unfortunately, I asked Chris about this, if I recall correctly. I asked Chris about his opinion on a 17:9 screen last week. And I believe his response was that it's not a great aspect ratio. You'd have to use the JVC zoom, and you don't want to turn the JVC zoom on, because it's gonna zoom up scope content or wider content. But if but it's an always like on setting when you are trying to use one single lens memory. So like if you're using lens memory, you can turn the zoom on your lens memory for scope stuff and leave the zoom off for 16:9. But if you're trying to use one lens memory and zoom is on, you're going to push 16:9 content off the top and the bottom of your screen. However, the thing that I didn't think about when we were talking about it is like, oh, well, if I did a 17:9 screen, I wouldn't use JVC zoom. I would take the lens off, the Panamorph would go away, but the MadVR isn't going away, not at all. So MadVR will do the scaling, the zoom scaling, not the projector. So the projector will get and this is what I'm doing right now. The MadVR outputs a 4096 by 2160 pixel image, and then the projector just displays it. So I don't have to worry about the possibility, the negative implications of the projector over zooming smaller aspect ratio content. So because of that, it's like, wow, 17:9 starts to feel like an attractive aspect ratio. One, it'll be 1-to-1 pixel map of the field of the projector. My 16:9 image is really big, and if I want to use NLS to stretch wide, to fill that screen wide, it's very little stretching. So, and even 185, I would probably be very comfortable stretching 185 content to 189 and having it fill. So basically, we're going back to a constant image height setup, just a taller screen. And then scope would be the same. Scope would have some black bars above and below it. And maybe I vertically stretch and NLS it off. Maybe I don't. Maybe I do like a halfway kind of stretch. But the other nice thing about the 17:9 versus like doing a 2.0 or a 2.1, or no, sorry, doing 17:9 versus going full bore 16:9 is it's 6 inches less tall. So 16:9 is going to take me like all the way up to my trim. I think a nice 6-inch gap would be nice to maintain. So, or potentially still stick with like 2.0, which wouldn't be as tall as 1.9. Again, it would be another like 5 inches less tall. But I would always have to be doing some pixel manipulation. We'd have to zoom up, and some image would be off the screen. We would set the screen boundaries above and below that. So I'm really drawn to 1.9. So yeah, so you have 1.9 screen. Get black bars on left and right of 16:9, bars on top and bottom of scope. Yep. Happy maximizing vertical and horizontal space. Interestingly, though, interesting you did it with a Sony. I think a 17:9 screen like screams JVC to be able to actually throw a pixel field that fills a 17:9 space. So if you're doing a 1.9 screen with a 16:9 projector, you're putting some pixels still off the screen. But depends too if you have a video processor, or are you doing lens shifting or lens memory and stuff like that. So yeah, that's where I'm at with the screen logistics, at least for the moment. So I need to talk with people at Stewart some more and validate a few things as well that we were talking about last week. Does having is that screen, the distance behind it with where my speakers are, I'm not compromising too much, or it'll work out okay. But yeah, 17:9, 1.9 ish is right now my kind of preferable aspect ratio. So I'm going to continue working on this like slowly in the background, but more. But my focus now will be towards, in this next month here, probably through September, will be towards the living room. So maybe if we do the screen, I don't know. Never, I'm saying this, but then I'll probably invalidate it myself. If things progress and I feel confident about the screen and I get everything lined up, I could still go ahead and get it or whatever. But I do have to get the my focus needs to be on getting the living room project done, getting it done expediently once it starts, because we don't want to live in the construction zone or live in a construction zone as little as short a time as possible. I want to make sure to be able to get the speakers in right away and have the system working again so the living room isn't down once the work is complete, and then verify what all of that costs as well. Theoretically, my screen change is going to be a cost neutral endeavor, regardless, because I won't need the Panamorph anymore, so I'll be able to sell that, and then hopefully be able to sell the current screen. So, but it's still, you have to spend the money for I'll have to spend the money for the new screen before I sell the old stuff and get the money back. And it's the same thing upstairs as well. Once the work is done up there, I will have two Focal IW LCR6s available to purchase, and I will have two Triad 10-inch in-wall Triad bronze subwoofers with their applicable 350-watt rack amplifiers available to sell as well. So I know one thing I'm very glad of is that I didn't wait to pull the speakers out of the living room to do the theater project, because we're 8 months removed already from putting the Utopia in these speakers in here, that if I was reliant on getting the speakers out of the living room for this room, I would have been short a speaker for the better part of this year. So I'm glad I did it that way. But finally progress, which is cool. Tyler, welcome. Apple has a patent for quad pairing of HomePods with tvOS 26. Any AirPlay speaker can be paired to tvOS. Do you think they're waiting? Do I think they're waiting for that? No, I don't. I wouldn't think so, because that's just surround sound. You could do that today. So I don't think I don't know. I think there's got to be something else, whatever the reason is, that they're waiting for. Chat. Yeah, I'd love a motorized masking system. I thought about that as well. And maybe in conjunction with pricing things out, I may go ahead and ask some questions about what a motorized setup would cost. But that's another benefit of going 16:9, or I'm sorry, doing the 17:9 screen, is I would forego any any motorization. I wouldn't bother with any masking. And I think that will save a lot. I think especially with Stewart, I think the motorized is a significant upcharge. Travis, what's your go-to site for selling equipment? For selling, nowadays, I have really good luck just advertising my used stuff to the channel audience. So that's my simplest and best case scenario, to try to let something go. Otherwise, I use Facebook Market a bit, but I'm a little dubious about Facebook Marketplace. I have had some bad experiences there. Well, one bad experience there. But that bad experience is probably only slightly to the left of like getting attacked or killed, which would not have been good, to say the least. I still got ripped off, and had to interact with people that were very questionable. So be careful with that. eBay, I've used eBay a lot over the years. eBay sucks from both. There's a lot of people trying to take advantage of you on eBay, and the fees are terrible. So you pay a ton in fees. I have sold some stuff on AudioGone in the past. So that has worked out for me. Not very much, but just like a piece or two of gear over the many years. AudioGone worked out. Don't use Craigslist. I've given up. I gave up on Craigslist a long time ago. Craigslist is even worse than Facebook Marketplace in terms of the kind of characters that are acting on there. Nowadays on Craigslist, you list something for sale on Craigslist, and you're just going to get inundated with scams for a week. It's such a joke. Oh, the other one that I would recommend too, another good place to try is the AVS forum classified section. Either there actually, so forum classifieds, AVS forum classified, or if it's Kaleidescape, Kscape Owners Forum classified. But Kscape Owners Forum also has a non-Kaleidescape gear section as well. So I tend to list stuff there, but that's where I've been successful. Just be careful of Craigslist and Facebook Market in terms of what you're selling, how you're meeting people, and stuff like that. Joe's asking, what do you think of using blanking to cut off the overspill in a 2.4 MadVR setup? I know the overspill is just black, but I was wondering if it helped contrast at all. If by blanking you mean it's not called blanking in the JVC menu. In the JVC, or like with most projectors, probably actually, you can crop the picture down. If that's what you're talking about, Joe, I did use that. To me, there's no reason not to. Like, so when I did lens memory in the past, or even without, even with the MadVR, like you define your screen space with the MadVR, you can still use the setting of the projector to blank or to kind of crop out. Yeah, I would do that. I don't think there's any downside to doing that. And you're actually like taking away those pixels from even being lit and whatnot, or even like presenting their light at all, which I think is a positive. Yeah, Stewart motorized screen. Yeah, it costs $20K. I'm not looking to spend that on a screen. I don't think there's any. For me, I don't know. I'm not black bars aren't a problem to me. And in my room with this projector, this setup, and everything like that, I would just accept the black bars, or maybe do a little bit of NLS to get rid of them instead. Yeah, US Audio Mart. That's another one. Actually, did I use AudioGone, or was it? It might have been US Audio Mart actually when I said AudioGone. AudioGone may not exist anymore. It might have been something that I used longer ago. I don't remember for sure on that actually. Might have been US Audio Mart that I'm thinking of. Yeah, Joe, on the Epson physically cuts the light off when you set it. Yeah. Yep. So that would be the last thing you do after everything else is dialed in, squared up, screen space defined, all of that. Then you tick that light cropping down to the exact line, the exact row or column of pixels that you need to take that light away. Cool. We're coming up on the hour here. Anybody else has comments or questions? Let me know. Let's see what else is going on content wise. Anybody start watching Peacemaker? Peacemaker season 2, episode 1 came out Thursday. I think new episodes come out every Thursday. So I'm going to try to keep up with that show week to week. Episode 1 was cool. Was definitely a good one. I'm excited to see what they do with that show this season. I think it'll be pretty exciting with the big twist. I'm not going to do any spoilers because it's only been a couple of days, but the big twist at the end in the theme of this season. I like how they retconned a little bit of the DC universe as well. So they changed the final scene or not the final scene, but one of the last scenes of the last episode of season 1 when the Justice League come in, and they reshot it and redid it. So now it's the Justice Gang, and I think they're doing smart stuff with the DC stuff still. So I'm excited about what they've got going on and integrating what they're integrating. Taking bits and pieces from a couple pieces of content that are canon to the new DC universe, but they've kind of fixed up a couple of the things. They retconned a couple of the things that they needed to do. So that's pretty good. And then we watched we binged out season 5 of Lego Masters the last couple of weeks with my son. My daughter didn't end up watching it with us, but my wife and my son, we watched that. Fun show, but that show is falling off for us. I think it's like any reality show after it's a couple seasons just gets like fake, even more fake than the season 1. It becomes about the production of the reality show. in the personality of the characters rather than like the content. Like it's Lego show, man. We just want to see Lego stuff. And I think now that in the next season that shows losing it or changing hosts and changing judges, and I think they're putting that show kind of down the toilet, unfortunately. We haven't watched any movies lately, but in the last couple weeks we did watch Karate Kid. I think that's the only movie we watched. Original Karate Kid. Watched that with the kids the first time they saw it, after having watched all the Cobra Kai stuff. So it was pretty interesting watching that in retrospect. Let's see what else. Yeah, so next plans. Strato will go in, get the quote for the living room, and move these projects along. We're getting closer to the fall iPhone announcements and all that, and Apple events and things. The version 26 of all the software is coming out. So still no hide or no sign of bit streaming output and anything like that. So per the question from a little bit ago, we'll see what happens. We're getting all the developer betas of tvOS 26 still. I haven't seen anything new in regards to audio video settings. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got for today. Let's roll through a couple of these last comments and we'll call it a day. Yeah, Joe on the Epson. Okay, it physically cuts the light off where you set it. Yep. Having no light on the sides, gaming 16:9 lens memory versus the blackest black Epson can throw. Yeah, you need a JVC, my friend. That's your next thing to enhance the experience. Time for the JVC upgrade. I was talking with somebody as well. Again, there's been more chatter about projectors lately. I think JVC still rules the roost between the trio of JVC, Epson, and Sony. Terminator. Haven't started watching Peacemaker yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I thought that show was pretty fun. What are your thoughts on super bright Epson projectors? I wouldn't buy them. $30,000. Buy an NZ900. It's a better projector. And even $15K. Buy an NZ800. It's a better projector. The light cannons, like the thing about it is, how much light do they actually throw relative to their insane specs? And then what is the cost of that light in terms of contrast and stuff that they can make? And the other picture quality and natural kind of fidelity bent of Epson versus its competition. I couldn't see those being attractive at those price points, especially relative to the competition. And we'll see what happens too. Like I don't expect at this point, I would say I can't imagine we're getting any new projectors next week at CEDIA. We're still early in the life cycle of the NZX00 units from JVC. I'm hopeful that maybe they have some news, like some software update, maybe some new features, something like that coming, which is pretty common, right? JVC tends to run like 3-ish year cycles, and in the off years, there's usually firmware updates and features added. So looking for that. Epson already announced the 9000 model was at Audio Advice, and the Q series is still in its first year. So I can't imagine anything new from them, and Sony as well. It feels like their stuff has already been is relatively new as well. The Bravia 8.9, the new 5, the 7, etc. So we probably won't see any new projectors next week. Probably. Never say never, but probably not. So maybe more of a question of what features, software features and firmware updates are coming to the units that are on the market right now. Chet saying, streaming is killing me now. I wish full seasons would be released at once. Yeah, I don't like these half seasons. Yeah, it's almost like we're back to like cable, and the new show airs weekly. Thursday night at 8:00. Yeah, I don't know. They can prolong the talking points going episode by episode. So marketing wise, I guess it makes sense to keep the momentum strong for for better shows. We should be closer to Stranger Things as well, finally, right? Which I think every freaking one of those episodes is a movie. So who knows what they're going to do with that? But that show needs to end, and hopefully very very well. Not sure what else. Really, no other shows I've been super excited about lately. Um, I said I'll keep up with Peacemaker, having really relatively just finished season one, binge season one a couple weeks ago. But we should have another season of The Boys. I'll look for that when it comes out. I never watched the last season of The Last of Us. Um, I don't know that I will. So that show may have died for me. We still actually need to finish the last 20 minutes of the last episode of Cobra Kai that we didn't finish on our vacation in Arizona. Just need to sit down with my wife and finish that off. So looking forward to Stranger Things when that does come. We're still watching Ironheart. We made it a couple more episodes in. I think that show's not good. The characters really annoy me, and I'm not really enjoying watching it at all. So we'll finish it because I'm curious about Mephisto, the introduction of Mephisto, and whatever he does in the remainder of that show. That Eyes of Wakanda show came out. Haven't even thought to watch that yet. I don't know if we'll watch that after Ironheart, maybe as a family. My son and I, we're watching like a collection of old shows. We kind of jump around, but we've made a concerted effort to get through the 90s X-Men cartoon as well. In the last week, we kind of picked that back up again because I really want to watch X-Men 97 again. I want him to see X-Men 97. There should be a season or two of that coming soon too. Srin, F1 came out, downloaded, didn't watch it yet. Yeah, I haven't bought it. The next movie that we'll probably watch is Bad Guys. Bad Guys 2 is available to watch at home. You need to buy that on the Kaleidescape and watch it. If you want a killer scene to test base, submarine scene and Final Reckoning is wicked. Cool. And the other new movie that I was actually recommending it to people at Audio Advice, to the brands at Audio Advice, is like Minecraft. Minecraft has some crazy good demo material in it. The final battle and the bridge fight where the air balloon ship blows up. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, Terminator. Lego Masters filled with personalities instead of Die Hard. Yep. Yeah. After we finished season 5, I wanted to go look what the Lego community's opinion on it was. Because I mean, we watched it and we still kind of enjoyed it, but you could definitely tell like it didn't feel the same as like season 1 and season 2. And so on the Lego Reddit, Lego Masters Reddit, that's where I learned that Will Arnett is out, and what's his name, that useless show host guy, Nick Cannon or something. The guy, he did like what he did, America's Got Talent, or I don't watch any of that stuff, but this guy looks like totally the wrong pick for Lego Masters, especially his personal life and choices and things to make him the host of a family show. So I don't think I'm going to enjoy that at all. I liked Will Arnett in the role. I thought he brought some balanced comedy to the show. But there's a lot on the Reddit as well about like the process of selection of contestants, and again, like you're saying, it's not Lego Builders anymore. They're casting for personalities, and how like people were talking about how they have these like open casting calls and people were going, and like they never really had a contention or a chance to get on the show, but yet they still had these people come, and they were basically like glorified extras, and they're like shooting part of what they are calling like the recruitment, the casting part of the show for season 6, and like the decisions were already made, and so it's all this just like suspect bummer reality TV crap now, and so kind of a bummer. And then one of the judges is changing as well. The guy, Jamie, I guess won't be back in season 6. They'll have a different Lego judge. I forgot you have to buy a lens on top of the price Epson projectors. Yeah, I'd be curious to see the results of one of those with the Lumigen. I would definitely want a video processor on it for like HDR processing and stuff like that. But no matter what, like you can't calibrate in you can't calibrate in contrast and performance and black level capability and stuff. So, and I'm not sure about the Q series, but I still have a hard time buying a non-native 4K projector nowadays. So I think there's just too many fidelity pros on the side of JVC. And for myself, for everything that I've ever seen, and for the other professional opinions that I trust, I'll ask some of the folks that were on the channel the last couple of weeks talking about projector brands and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe Marco or Christy will have. Yeah, maybe they will. Maybe I don't. I only pay like side attention to those brands just because it's a different level of the hobby, the installation requirements and cost and everything like that. Some of the barcodes start to tick down a little bit more attainably, but it's still a step higher of commitment, size, and integration requirement and all of that stuff. So yeah, the customer that bought the NZ500 was replacing an Epson, and he's overjoyed. He's over the moon with his feedback about how it looks. So he's very, very happy with that. HDR performance, black level contrast, right? He's commenting color as well, but basically, I'm happy that he's happy. His I think it was an Epson LS 12,000 to NZ 500 swap out. Chat. We need a Lumigen versus Maviar comes with Jim and a Maviar. I don't know that anybody will ever hold that head to head. I'm sure those guys, or certainly I've seen the Maviar guys on a lot of channels talking. I don't know if I've ever seen Jim actually on anybody's show, or very, very frequently. Lumigen needs to get the artisan units out and see maybe there'll be some news out of Cedia with regards to them. Maybe some Maviar news as well. They announced the DSO, the dynamic subtitle overlay feature at Audio Advice, but who knows? There could be something else that they saved for Cedia also. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming out. Fun hangout, fun chance to catch up on some of the things that are going on. I'm not sure. Again, stay tuned. We'll see what happens next week and going forward in terms of showtime, activities, guests, and all of that. I would like to get a live stream in next week, so it could be Tuesday. Maybe we'll stick to Monday. Say more than likely it'll go to Tuesday, though. I suspect that we will be, with the long weekend, Monday holiday, we will be out doing things, and hope you are too. So more than likely Tuesday, and then I'll have to talk with folks, but maybe the following Monday we can do a post Cedia wrap up. So yeah, next week will probably be a hangout, post Cedia wrap up, and then start working from there to have some more other guests and stuff on. I wouldn't mind having Dan on to talk about like Control 4 changes, X4, maybe some of that stuff. And I was talking with the Focal folks previously about coming on and talking about things as well. Some of their new speakers and the Divas and some of the architectural things that I really enjoy in their product lineup, stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for coming out. We'll stay tuned. More content, also videos and stuff will be coming. Get this living room project going. We'll have some vlogs, so it should be an exciting September. So have a great long holiday weekend. Have a great start to the school year for all, if you are a kiddo or going back to school, or to all your kiddos out there. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Come on back for more home theater discussion and fun. And if you need anything in the interim, reach out, Jeremy@techthusiasm.net, or go to www.techthusiasm.com.net, jeremypowell.com. It's all the same webpage. Please use those affiliate links if you're doing some regular shopping. And if you want some upgrades, Kaleidescape, JVC, Seymour, Panamorph, Focal, Denon, Marantz, SVS, Wattbox, Strong Racks, any of the above. Any of the above. Reach out, and happy to talk, chat, and get you hooked up. Thanks, everyone. Bye.